My name is Forrest Wu. I grew up in roughly the same town outside of 3 different cities, Denver, Houston, and then Chicago, before I went to school in Indiana. I have a Chinese father and a Jewish mother, and so though I grew up in fairly diverse places, I didn't know a lot of other biracial kids. And there was a huge population of Chinese people in almost every place I grew up, but I wasn't necessarily one of them, and I wasn't necessarily one of the white kids. And that was only compounded when I wasn't really one of the straight kids either. I guess by the time I sort of started coming around to my sexuality and coming into it, I'd already known to an extent what it was like to be in the margins. People don't necessarily know that I'm half Chinese, and so without that knowledge, the kinds of things that white people say in confidence among themselves can sometimes be truly blatant. I've just watched someone turn around completely after thinking that I was Greek, or that I was something a little more within like this European pantheon of race. I think that I live every day as a queer person, and I live every day variably as a person of color based on how other people around me see me. I identify every day as a queer person of color, but because my first priority is not to make my race known to you, sometimes people see me as white and treat me as white, and I've seen firsthand how differently people might be treated based on their perceived race. Because I go-go dance, sometimes it's in my best interests to be exoticized. And when I'm working, if someone comes up to me, this is the plight of so many queer people of color, but the first question will be, what are you? Or where are you from? And usually someone can pick it up pretty quickly if you answer, oh, I'm from Chicago, that you're not comfortable being asked about your race with someone you've just met. While I'll sort of entertain that exoticizing, when I'm go-go dancing and when my express purpose that I guess I implicitly agree to is to be objectified a little, that ends at the bar. If I'm not working, I'm not gonna entertain your race fantasies. The most valuable thing I've learned about race and sexuality and the way those two interact is that this is a positive, but those things do define you. And I think there's a sort of existing rhetoric that, I'm more than my race, I'm more than my sexuality. And that's true, but that doesn't mean that those two things aren't totally integral to who you are and should be celebrated. To say that I'm not just a Chinese queer person is true, but I am also Chinese and queer, and those are indelible parts of who I am.